Hello, hello. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Arts Across America, presented by Sankofa.org and the Kennedy Center. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the ancestors and those who came before us, all those who paved a way for us to be here today, to gather. Our Native and Indigenous ancestors, our African ancestors, all our relations who sacrificed so much, who paved a way for us. My name is Gina Belafonte. I'm the executive director of Sankofa.org. Sankofa.org is a nonprofit organization founded by my father, Harry Belafonte, myself, and Raoul Roach. We educate, motivate, and activate artists and allies in service of grassroots movements and equitable change. We use art as a tool to engage the public. The Kennedy Center is working with Sankofa.org to curate performances from diverse locations across the country to uplift and tell the story of their communities in the time of coronavirus. Arts Across America seeks to utilize the Kennedy Center's digital platforms and partnerships with community organizations to connect and uplift the stories and art of communities from across the country, while also providing much needed support to artists. Arts Across America performances feature visionary cultural curators, artists, and workers using their power and agency to transform their community and thus the world. This is as much a celebration of the community that surrounds the artist as it is about the art itself. Sankofa.org is honored to partner with the Kennedy Center. And today, joining us is Mendeleyev Alan Blitz. Welcome.
Hi, how are you doing, Gina?
I'm great.
Thanks for having me. You left me with my heritage. You left me to go. Calling out to my ancestors to show me the way home. The stars are starting to look familiar, becoming constellations. Illuminate my path to show me the way home. Show me the way, show me the way home. You're gone, Caledonia to stay. Feels right to sing, but it hurts to say. It still hurts to say. You're the red in my blood, you're the blue in my veins. After all is gone, the purple remains. Yeah, the purple remains. Show me the way, show me the way, oh. There's a rhythm in my heart. There's a song in my throat. There are words in my head with only one way to go. Only one way to go. One way to go. Show me
Oh, that's so, so beautiful. And I realized I was so excited to hear the song that I forgot to read your bio. So I'm going to read it very quickly. And then we're going
Mm.
to share with the audience the video of that song because you have really beautifully storyboarded it and it tells such a beautiful story. So let me just say that Mendeleyev is a singer songwriter working hard toward becoming a more widely recognized name in music and entertainment. And obviously now we can all see why. With a diverse catalog filled with feverish finger picking, as we saw, mellow to manic melodies and lively, moving lyrical content, highly influenced by a variety of legends such as Richie Havens, Neil Young, Van Morrison, Jeff
Mm.
Buckley, Feast.
Yeah.
Is it Feast or Feist?
Feist, actually.
Feist.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Mayer and Sublime. And he has a
Yeah.
fresh and folky yet fun and funky take on music. Such a beautiful, beautiful song. I want to go directly into the video to share
Okay.
before, and then we'll come back and talk
Yeah.
a little bit.
Sure. You left me with my heritage. You left me to go. Calling out to my ancestors to show me the way home. The stars are starting to look familiar, becoming constellations. Illuminate my path to show me the way home. Show me the way home. You're gone, Caledonia to stay. Feels right to sing, but it hurts to say. It still hurts to say. You're the red in my blood, the blue in my veins. After all is gone, the purple remains. The purple remains. Show me the way. Show me the way home. There's a rhythm in my heart. There's a song in my throat. There are words in my head with only one way to go. Show me the way. Show me the way.
Oh, it's such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song.
Thank you.
Yes. There's so much I want to get into, but before we leave this song, can you just tell us a little bit about the collaboration with the person who did the animation with you and the story? Because it's such beautiful, beautiful animation. Who did that animation? And
Absolutely, yeah. That was Shantae. Her name is a dear friend of mine, Shantae Glover.
Mhm.
She goes by Copper Raven, an artist, Copper Raven Studio, on Instagram, copperravenstudio.com. She's an incredible painter, tattoo designer, artist of many different kinds. But with this project, it kind of started. Originally, it was like I wanted a lyric video, and I just wanted some words written out. And she had never done any animation before. But within
Wow.
the first 10-second clip that she ever had, it was just immediately obvious that the more I stepped back, the more she was just going to kind of take flight with it and
Mm.
carried away. And that's exactly what ended up happening. And she would ask me for feedback and, symbols and everything. And I just kind of, backed off it for as much as I could. She really just kind of went to town on it.
Beautiful, beautiful
Yeah,
collaboration.
yeah, one of my favorites. Yeah,
Yeah, really, really so special. And I saw at the end there that little portrait of your mother, which is so beautiful. We'll talk more about Ali later.
yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, switching gears. So I know that your name is Mendeleyev, Galileo, Einstein, Pythagoras, Darwin, Euclid, Leonardo, Allen, Blitz.
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
I leave
you got
anything out?
all of them. Nice.
So why don't you give us a little bit of your origin story and tell
Yeah,
us how you got that name?
yeah, well, that comes from just kind of wild parents, hippie parents, undeniably.
Mhm.
And they're all scientists, named after all scientists. I have two older brothers. One got the philosophers, and his are Lao Tzu, Seattle, Shankara, Spinoza, Socrates, Siddhartha, Sabet, Alan Blitz, and those are the philosophers there. I'm actually in his home right now, in Boston, hanging out with his new baby, my nephew Orion. My oldest brother is Elijah, and he got the comedians, and that's Elijah, Benjamin, Ramalisha, Groucho, Woody Allen Blitz. So, snuck it right there in at the end. But anyways, we all got those crazy long names. Grew up in Santa Barbara. I was born in a bathtub. Mostly in the mountains, barefoot most of the time. Yeah, and grew up vegetarian, was born that way, stayed that way. Yeah, never really eat meat. We all do music. We all play music to some degree. Both my parents were in a band. My mom was a bassist for a long time. My dad was a singer, guitar player, and grew up with all the good old classic folk music and '60s folk, and Neil Young, like you said earlier, John
Mhm.
Cash, Simon and Garfunkel, Crosby, Stills and Nash, the classics. Yeah,
That's so cool. That's so cool. And you've had a lot of interesting journeys with your family and up
sure.
in those mountains, literally and figuratively.
Yes, right,
And
right,
we'll
right.
talk a little bit more about that later because I'm thinking that some of your journeys, actually, and some of the things that happened to you certainly informed your lyrics and your music, as it
Yeah,
does with most artists and
yeah,
musicians. But let's just so that we can get it out of the way for anyone who might remember or is curious. You were a contestant, shall we say, on The Voice.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, and that was not too long before the pandemic hit. And
right.
I want to show a clip of you on The Voice because you got one of the very rare four-chair turns.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
let's show that clip, and we'll talk a bit about that experience.
Awesome.
If you're traveling in the North Country Fair, where the winds hit heavy on on the borderline. Remember me to the one who lives there, for she once was a true love of mine. If you go where the snowflakes fall, where the rivers freeze, air on the summer air, please see for me. She's got a keep her from the howling winds. Remember me to the one who lives there, for she once was true love of mine.
That's huge, brother.
She once was true love of mine. Thank you.
I feel like your voice just sounds like the best glass of Pinot Noir ever. Like, I feel like a warm blanket was just wrapped around me and I'm being tucked in and it's the most beautiful moment ever. I would love to hear a record of you on vinyl. Usually everybody gets so excited about the big wailing notes and all that kind of stuff, but dude, woo! Like, you can do the whale stuff. I heard a bit of that, but that when you go
Wait,
low,
what did
it
she
is
just say? I heard. Anybody understand that?
okay. No, I do.
Is that
I
an
talk-
audio malfunction?
I talk fast. No, but it's an incredible, I mean, honestly, I've been sitting here going, God, what am I even going to say? It's so beautiful. I talk fast.
This is great. All right, we can let that go. That is.
Yeah, it keeps going. It keeps going.
I know it does. They're all fighting for you. It's so beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that analogy that you're like the best Pinot Noir. Your voice is like the best.
Yeah.
I mean, that is certainly something that you can take with you for a while. You know, how was that experience?
Yeah, well, the whole experience was incredible.
It's always so emotional for the family. I saw your brother and your partner and your father there.
Yeah,
It was so emotional. The timing of that was really quite unique for your family. And so tell us a little bit about the experience.
Right. Well, I mean, overall, it's impossible to kind of explain without saying that going on to the show was within weeks after my mom passed away. And being kind of on the program, there's quite a bit of things that I still can't really explain and say, but will kind of break down that the timing was unbelievable, and it was for my brother and dad and girlfriend to be there meant a lot, and was incredibly helpful, and they were so supportive during that time. And everyone on the show itself was too, and that was maybe a bit of a surprise to me. Mostly I had never seen the show in my life. I'd never watched an episode when I got chosen to be on it.
Amazing.
And so I didn't know exactly what to expect. I just kind of went forward and tried not to look back so much. But I was blown away by how wonderful everybody was, just hanging out with people from across the country and collaborating and singing and writing with on a regular basis, almost every day, with all sorts of people that we've never met before that are incredibly talented, wonderful singers. And we all had that opportunity. And I think just the uniqueness and kind of special part of the circumstance led to us having even deeper relationships with each other. And no one was competitive. Everyone was just supportive of each other. Everyone that worked on the show, it was an absolute blast. I've been looking back to that time really fondly. Yeah, nostalgic almost, even though it's only been a year.
That's so great. I mean, I think those of us who watch the show or any of those kinds of sort of reality competitive shows always wonder, what is it really like,
Yeah,
and
right.
I'm sure that there is, a certain amount of stuff that goes down that's like crazy just because the time schedules and having to turn around a whole bunch of stuff. But it's so nice to hear that like real relationships can develop and the experience can be, but just also that's a testament to you as well, that you can really take from that and let that inform your way forward. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Didn't
And
know
that,
what to expect. I was very pleasantly surprised with the little peek behind the reality television curtain.
yeah.
It was wonderful. Yeah.
And of course your arrangement to that song is quite beautiful as well.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Thanks. I think that's the song, and the timing and everything syncing up, that worked out very well. It was more of the Johnny Cash, Bob Dylan version of the song. They have a duet with each other,
Mhm.
where they kind of play it in kind of a similar manner, and they're both kind of trying to harmonize with each other. And it kind of sounds awful, but that's why it's so great. It's like they're both these gravelly lead singers that sound terrible together, but there's such a aesthetic to it, and they have so much feeling behind it. And yeah, it's really one of the best versions. If you haven't checked it out there, I totally recommend it.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So those of you who may be just tuning in, we're talking to Mendeleyev, and we're talking about his experience on The Voice, and gonna hear some more music from him. But before we do, let's talk a little bit about your music. You play a bunch of different instruments, and you also are quite an experimenter and a jammer. And
Yeah.
what we're gonna hear some acoustic stuff for you. So tell me a little bit about what you're gonna play for us and sort of the origins of this song.
Okay, yeah. This is an acoustic song called Pure, and I wrote it about 6 years ago, and it was while I was creating this album with a dear friend of mine named Mitchell Hauser at House Music in Los Angeles. And I wrote it kind of during this terrible period in my life of going through a bad breakup, which I'm sure we all kind of have. And there was a time of every song was a different genre and a different kind of perspective of what it's like to go through the process of a separation, or of what it's like leaving a relationship. So every song, there was the Never Gonna Let You Go song, there was the kind of almost addiction song, there is the I'm over it song, If I Can't Be Free, and all of them are different genres and different kind of parts of the process, and so almost like kind of the stages of grief, but what the mind flips back and forth to through something like a difficult separation. And so this one was more of the manifestation song, of like, what do I want instead? What do I need instead of this kind of tumultuous relationship that I'm in? And I recorded, as you said, I play other instruments. I recorded all the instruments on the project, and that's mainly a testament to Mitchell, my friend who's the producer, for helping me chop up everything from my drum set playing to my bass playing to my organ playing, piano playing, background vocals, all the works of it all. And and I think I got a friend who played cello on the song, because I couldn't do the cello. I couldn't even fake the cello. But it was an odyssey. The project took a year, beginning with my end of a relationship and concluding with his end of a relationship. And so there was something cosmic about it, and we've been dear friends to this day, still collaborating, still making all kinds of music together. But yeah, this song is track 1 on that album, called Juxtapositions, and the song is called Pure. I don't need fake shit living in my head. I don't need drama sleeping in my bed. I don't need 10,000 texts while I'm away. I don't need little white lies so that I can feel secure. I don't need to feel so many feelings anymore. I just need to feel something real, something pure. And I was lost and lonely, so tired of trial and error. I felt reluctant as hell, but I can tell you I wasn't scared. I never wanted to grow up, but I always wanted to be mature. I wanted someone to tell me the fucking truth. I needed to hear something real, something pure. Say oh, oh. Can I save myself? Oh, can I be saved? Don't need to sell my soul so the devil will feel reassured. Now that I found my truth, I know I still need something true. So I'm gonna find something real, something pure. Thank you.
Oh, so beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, it's an older song of mine, but you know, it's stuck around.
It's so, I mean, the song itself and evidently the way in which you worked it out, it sounds so therapeutic.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
and I think, you know, all of us have felt that, whether it was with a breakup. I think breakups is a good way to, you know, of any kind, whether it's in a relationship or with a job or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, right.
Really,
Right.
really great. That's
It was
really
simple, you know. It's like I basically went through the bullet points in the list. I was like, okay, I don't need this. I don't need this. I need this. I need this. I don't need this.
exactly.
Yeah.
Who can't relate to that, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So amazing. Well, I want to go to another video of yours. It's such
Yeah.
a great, another one, Rough Sea, Soft Sky. Tell us a little bit about the song before we go to the video.
Okay. Yeah. It's well, first of all, I think it's important to say a big part of my upbringing in my life has to do with cinema, and I'm a videographer and editor, and just generally make my own music videos by myself. And so this song, the song itself came from me being alone in my room for 5 hours and wrote, recorded, produced, and created the song, and then shot the video basically alone by myself in solitude. Regardless of quarantine and COVID and this whole situation, it was what happens, you know, when you're hyper creative and have all this time to be alone and be by yourself, and what comes of that. And so what ended up in this result of this video was I really think the feeling of solitude and what it's like to go through this process of creativity by yourself. And yeah, honestly, I didn't know what it was going to be when I started. It was a bunch of little pieces along the way that amounted to something pretty epic, and I'm pretty dang proud of it. And it was on a EP that I released back in June called Songs for Mom.
Oh, beautiful.
I wrote and recorded, yeah.
Awesome.
Rough sea, soft sky, color me quiet. Call out for another, call out for a light. A beacon in the mist, my surrender justified. How long has it been? How can I recall? 27 felt like 2 years. 27 I felt before. Coming down to the bottom of the wire. So quick, how will love give me life? Feel the taste of freedom before it's over. Yeah, I get a call in the middle of the night. Waking to the voice on the other line. My heart is beating from the middle of a dream. Tell me something, something sweet.
That is so cool.
Right.
I've never seen that. I love, especially that end shot where it feels like the world is rising up.
Right. Yeah, you can't tell, and then the foreground kind of appears, right? And so the trick of it all is like I was saying, I did make it all by myself. So you're wondering who the hell's holding the drum.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I'm just got the controller. I'm just sitting there holding
Yeah.
the controller, and all of the shots, just standing there in using kind of the
Silhouette. Yeah.
advantage.
Beautiful, beautiful song. And it's interesting to hear the progression a little bit, even in this segment that we're doing, because your music is being a bit more informed with electronic sound, and you're using more electronic music to in some of your arrangements, not just acoustic stuff.
Right.
How did that transition come about, do you think? Like, what was it that you felt like you wanted to explore? Because I went to one of your shows that was a 2-hour show, and it was nonstop. You played for 2 hours straight, and we could have had more. And you played all kinds of different instruments, but you did do a lot of electronic stuff that was very therapeutic, and it felt very meditative.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's very loop based. And so with that, I'm actually able to still kind of capture the improvisational part of things and incorporate other people, even people in the audience that want to come sing a line. I know you even came up on stage and did a loop in there, and we can kind of pass around the microphone, and then I can affect it and kind of manipulate the sounds after the fact. So it ends up being a collaboration, which is my favorite part about it, which, with acoustic music, you can't really do as much. I mean, you get people singing along, and that's wonderful. That's my, job in life. But when you can actually kind of see the process of what it's like to be in a studio and bring the studio to the stage, that's the stuff that it just inspires me right now. And I think it's partly because of maybe I have to say impatience is where it came from. Where the last song that I played for you guys on guitar, it's like recording that and playing all the instruments and everything. That took a year. you know, and that's wonderful. And there's a lot of, blood, sweat, and tears going into that. But where it comes to that last song that I showed you, I opened an empty session in 5 hours, it was done. And so I think there was an element of efficiency over the years of accumulating this way of expressing myself quickly. And electronic music seems to be this route where I can kind of take all of everything that inspires me from even sampling my own songs, and even say an unreleased project that I now am able to kind of recycle. It's a recycling system of my own creations that weigh heavy on me if I don't release it. And it's almost like I can have a whole new route of expression. I can almost make an EP a day kind of thing.
Wow, amazing.
I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs that are not released. It's almost like I'm a hoarder, like a sonic hoarder. And I'm trying to figure out how I can just keep pumping it out one by one or album by album.
Yeah. Well, you will. You're very your intuition, I think, will lead you, as it's led you to a wonderful place now.
Yeah.
You have a new album out. Is that right?
It's a new song.
New song? You have a new song out, and that's dropping today, correct?
Today, that's right, exactly.
That's so exciting. So I think you sent us a video of it. Let's take a look, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more with Mendeleyev, not only about the video we're about to see, but he'll play us one more acoustic song, and then we have a very, very, very special song that we'll end our segment with today. So let's check out this new song. What's the name of it?
It's called With the Lights Off.
With the Lights Off. Okay, awesome.
It's enough. I'm starting to speak. Stuck on the phone. Get off the phone. Got something to say. Time to get high. Even higher. Time to get clean. Even cleaner. To unlock the key. And finally see. With the lights on. With the lights on. Everything spinning. With the lights on.
Boom.
So cool.
There it is.
That is so cool.
Yeah, short but sweet.
Yeah, but I like it. Again, you could play that whole song on a loop.
Yes, right, exactly. And it keeps it going for another minute or two. But yeah, that's it for the video.
I don't know if this is a personal question or not, but do you meditate?
Yeah, I have gone through phases of my life where I'm a little more diligent and better at it, and right now is not my phase. But that's more of a sign that I just need to be doing more.
Well, I mean, because I find a lot of your music very meditative, and I wonder, what is it? And I know you've been asked this before. We ask this to most musicians and artists. What is it that you hope audiences walk away with or feel after they've heard your music or seen you perform?
Sure. Well, part of that I have to kind of break up because I'm just constantly dipping my toes in so many genres. So it does depend on which song. But for the most part, meditation is an interesting way to say it, because in a way that is what it is, where I want to kind of bring the creative process out in the song. It's almost like I want the song to be this instrument that I'm playing, and I want it to be this almost like, for me, the meditation comes from the creative process, and kind of the way that I just tap into whatever I'm doing when I'm doing it. And so the more I can bring that out in the song, the more I think that kind of those meditative qualities do rub off, and you are able to kind of leave the song with those feelings. And so overall, the answer to that question has evolved quite a bit in my life. But right now, I'm hoping to just generally inspire as many people as I can. It's my MO. It's like that's what I'm going to do. It's what I already do. I'm just wanting to do more of that and better. And whether it be anyone who's never even touched an instrument before, maybe wanting to pick something up for the first time or write a lyric down for the first time and inspire that, or even my musician friends and people that are creative, talented people that I'm like, this is actually a possibility. If you learn this stuff and figure out, your own route to, get other people singing along or dancing along or whatever it is. But meditation I like, and I haven't kind of found a way to verbalize that, but it makes most sense because both my parents were TM teachers. They were transcendental meditation teachers, and that's actually how they met. So ultimately my life, my whole existence has come from transcendental meditation.
I love it. I love it.
I'll pay that back somehow.
That's super dope. That's super dope. I've just been thinking a little bit about how, during coronavirus, many people felt a lot of despair, of course, understandably. Lost a lot of folks, and then people have been getting, like Zoom fatigue and quarantine fatigue. And, of course, I'm always encouraging people just to breathe deeply. And I know this is most of the fatigue and most of the, I think, frustration, aside from the obvious in terms of like, how am I going to pay my rent and will I be able to hug a person again? Is that it is offering us an opportunity to go within and to deepen our relationship with ourselves and to find some kind of a meditative practice during this process. And I think a lot of people shy away from meditation because they think they're supposed to turn their mind off and it's supposed to just be a blank slate and you're breathing and you're just thinking about nothing and relaxing. And I have found for myself meditation to be very different from that experience. I find a lot of information coming to me. I find my mind, and while I want to sort of return my attention back to my breath when I'm meditating, I get very creative thoughts, very creative ideas that once the meditation is finished, they're right there. And I'm like, oh, I got to write that down. Or, oh, that's a So I really kind of feel like meditation is also an opportunity for us to just get more conscious with ourselves and find a way to be patient and loving toward ourselves when images and ideas and thoughts come up, to not judge them, but just let them pass through and be more creative, in especially for those who are not living or working in a way that they identify as creative.
That's a good point. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
to that point, I do have to say that, like, I feel like this year has forced us into a state of reflection, whether we like it or not. And I think we have both of those feelings almost on a daily basis. But there are pros and cons to what this is going through. For me, with creativity, it was like a way of hyper creativity got me through the pandemic situation. It's undeniable. That was my only way of really kind of getting through. But after, 4, 5, 6 months, it really started, the performance side of it, the lack of performance really started weighing on me. And I had to completely reconfigure who I am, my identity, how I relate to performing. And if I can't do that, who am I? And what can I still do, And so finding
you were just about to go out on tour with Ben Harper.
That's right.
And then the pandemic just kiboshed all of that. Yeah.
I know. That was a hard one. That was a hard one for me to really. I had my hopes up on that one, Tina.
I know. Well, I know more opportunities will come when we
I'm
can
sure.
bring those together, and maybe maybe who knows? I don't know. Maybe people will start thinking that they'll have opening acts on their albums now. I don't know.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, so one thing I did was I released 2 months ago an acoustic album. It's called Acoustic Sessions Volume 1, where basically I just went in the studio and performed a whole set, like, kind of this with stories and with interludes and about 19 songs and an hour and a half of just playing music. And then I put that on Spotify and iTunes and Apple Music. So it's like, I'm just releasing a live set.
Yeah.
I guess, we're finding creative workarounds to deal with, the stagnancy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The creatives will be creative.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can't stop it right now. Yeah.
So, will you play us another song?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Sorry, say again.
Tell us a little bit about it. Just a little.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is just on the topic of inspiration. This song is basically focused on inspiration and needing to always be in the pursuit of inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily an artist that is kind of like I wait for things to hit me. I've never been like that. I have so many things and instruments and mediums that inspire me. So I'm just constantly like, if I'm not inspired by the guitar, I'm going to the piano, or I'm going to, even if I'm not inspired by music, I'm going to video. And that's my cycle. And that's kind of how I'm constantly energizing and thriving through the writer's block, as some people call it. And so this song is about the pursuit of inspiration, and it's called Wherever You Go. I can feel my soul trying to let go of control. Won't you take me to your gateway? Won't you see me through? For every journey furthermore begins and ends with you. Wherever you go, wherever you go. Fulfill the ego's prophecy. Do what you want to believe. Do well by yourself, do well by the world. Heal yourself and heal the world. Wherever you go, 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 wherever you go. Wherever you go, wherever you go, wherever you go. Yeah. Thank
Woo!
you.
That's amazing. You're so talented, Lev. It's such a
Thank you.
pleasure. It's such a pleasure to not only watch your videos but witness you in the moment, and your amazing your amazing picking and guitar playing, and your voice is so rich and so deep. It's so healing, and so it's
Yeah.
really wonderful. I'm so grateful that you were able to join us today on Arts Across America. You're such a gift to the world and to our audience, and I just can't thank you enough for taking the time
Thanks for
to be
having me.
with us. And
Wow.
I just want to encourage everyone to please look up Lev. Can you tell us some of where can we find you?
Yeah, well, all of it, Instagram, Spotify, Twitter, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Facebook, my website, all that stuff. Mendeleyev is the code. If you can figure out how to spell the code, and it seems to be, the challenge that I've posed, or my parents have posed to the world. I could have gone with an easier name, but I chose that one. Mendeleyev is the Russian chemist that organized the whole periodic table of elements. So if you can spell his name, you can find me. And in fact, I appear now on Google, I think, before his, face, his real beard. Yeah.
And for those of you out there, don't fear. It's right there, right on the lower left-hand side of the screen.
Well, you got links. That's great. Yeah.
The links aren't there, but the spelling of your name is, and I apologize.
The spelling is right there. If you can spell that, and whether it be, Spotify again for the music, or Instagram for social media. My website is levsongs.com. Just trying to keep putting things out. I've released quite a few projects this year, and I'm not stopping. So much more to come in the new year.
That's so great. That's so great. And so much has informed your music. We know. I mean, if you go on Lev's website, you'll see a little bit of his story. His childhood home burned down. There's been loss in his life, transition. There's been a lot of exploration, with a lot of different things. And I really encourage people to do their best to find spaces and places where we can find Lev.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about this last song that we will play out for our audiences too. The loss of your mom was a very interesting process, I'll say.
Yeah.
And, the loss of a parent is something that is so deep and can be very painful. But there was also a lot of joy and a lot of really amazing coming together around the passing of your mom. So tell us a little bit about the song we'll play out to, and just sending love and light to you and your family, to Allie, and again, so grateful for you joining us here. And before we end, I just also want to thank Sankofa.org family, Maria Belafonte, Eric Wisa, and all of Kennedy Center, who has supported us through our Arts Across America segments. But tell us a bit about this last song we're going to hear, Until Forever I Go.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Gina, for having me, giving a platform, and Sankofa for allowing this to be a thing, especially in this kind of chaotic time where we don't know how to proceed. I think this is a great route, and I am very grateful, especially this week. It's a great time to reflect and feel what I'm really grateful for, and ultimately, no matter what it is, it does stem back to my mom. And she passed away in May of 2019, and she was battling breast cancer for about 15 years, so over half of my life. And it was, I guess I had about half of my life to prepare for that experience, when, that's not really a possibility to prepare per se, but it was an inevitable thing that just kept getting closer and closer. And while it was a brutal process to go through, it still continues to be, and I realize it's a lifelong process to figure out. And I don't know if I'm any closer now than I was, a year and a half ago when everything happened. But I do have to say that she chose to go by assisted suicide. So it was an opportunity to where we were all there. And we all got to spend the last 2 weeks together. And, my brother came in, flew into town, and we all got to spend a lot of time together and all literally physically be surrounded, surround ourselves, as a family, and something that she would have loved the most. And it was a really, really powerful time for all of us. But the ability to be there and know and choose, and literally all have a phone call of pulling out a calendar and choosing, okay, this is the day. It's a surreal experience. It was like, we didn't know it was going to happen until it actually happened. And it was, it was very hard. But I wouldn't have chosen any other way. And luckily, assisted suicide only even just became legal in California 2 years ago, right before it happened. And I know it's a very controversial thing, but I don't have too much of a reference point for other people, but I really couldn't recommend it enough for somebody who's really battling and going through severe pain on a daily basis, and nausea, and just, the list was long as to how the fight kept going. And it would have gotten worse and worse and worse, which it was. So the power and the discipline, I think, above all, that she had to pull out the calendar and choose this page and know, and allow all of us to prepare, actually do what we can to prepare for the time. And so she wrote everybody letters. She wrote many people kind of a generalized letter, and then personal letters, and gave it to them leading up to her death. And so my brothers and I all received these very personal letters, that basically is her last message to us. However, it's been a year and a half, almost 2, and none of us have opened that letter. And I don't know if she realized how incredibly difficult it would be to decide to choose to open that letter, and how many days I've gotten this close to doing it. Needed advice, or was going through an extra hard time where I just would love to have her input on something, but it hasn't happened yet. And I recorded and wrote an EP this year called Songs for Mom. And this song that you're about to hear is the first song on that EP. And it's about that letter, and the inability to open that letter, and the wondering of what really is inside that letter, and what it is she has to say, and how damn hard it is to get myself to choose this is the time when it's going to be the last thing that we hear from her, until I die, or my brothers or our family passes away. So that's why the song is called Until Forever I Go. Until I write the letter, read the letter. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you for sharing that story with us. It's very profound and beautiful. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, appreciate it.
When will I read your letter? How will I know? Laying my head down to the fire, and I come home. I know you can feel it, and I know you know. You know I can feel it. Until forever I go. Till forever I go. Till forever I go. I'll let you burn in the fire. read your letter. How will I know? Laying my head down to the fire when I come home. I'll miss you forever, and I know you know. I'll miss you forever, until forever I go. Till forever I go.